publicly asked for his help a couple times on Twitter about swatting calls that were happening that were clearly a part of their extended smear campaign. And he completely ignored it, right? And next thing you know, he's on there flapping his gums about female raps.
When you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to shut the up, okay? Shut the Yeah, she's a witch. She's a witch. I'm a watchman. She's a witch. Get that stupid girl out of here. Okay? They can't do this. They can't.
Rihanna's over there and she's there with the devil. They don't want me to get money. They don't want me to be successful. I made $3,000 one day on a day trade trading NVDA. And then Rihanna, she pops up in the spirit with the devil and they're like, rah, 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 rah. And then they went over and they attacked a legal case. They went and attacked my lawyer, Jennifer Meister, and they took her spirit and her energy and they were just right there. Like I could see them vivid as day.
People like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living our people. So how to stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they didn't go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Man.
Liars are now the face of our culture.
From discussing Nicki Minaj and talking about Nicki Minaj and Rock Nation when it pertains to Jay-Z, when it pertains to all of the crap that's going on around that, they are trying to be, I'm letting y'all know, I can't say too much about what's going on behind the scenes, but just know y'all, if y'all see that my content is switching up, if y'all see that my content is a little bit different, if y'all see that my content isn't really going as hard as it was before, it's because behind the scenes, it's some I just showed y'all that video got 1 million views in the last 2 days, split between 2 platforms. They see me. They see what's going on, and the messages, the phone, listen. I always tell people, y'all gotta be mindful of what y'all say. Make sure y'all always say allegedly when y'all posting about stuff, but they trying to.
I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
You had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Fun to Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
Yeah. So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, Miss Lady.
He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure working with Jay-Z, you've met Beyonce.
It starts off sounding like 2 completely separate, terrifying celebrity incidents. But the timing is what's making people stop and look twice. Within weeks, Nicki Minaj is dealing with a man allegedly trespassing on her property, caught roaming her backyard like he knew exactly where he was going. And then over at Rihanna's home, things escalate to something even more chilling. Gunfire, a targeted attack, and a suspect with a deeply disturbing fixation. 2 high-profile women, 2 dangerous situations, both happening almost back-to-back. And now the internet is asking the question nobody can ignore anymore. Is this all just a series of random incidents? Or is there something much more coordinated happening behind the scenes? Because here's where things start to get even more unsettling. Nicki hasn't just been dealing with this one trespassing situation. She's been telling anyone who will listen for months now that she feels like she's being targeted. We're talking repeated swatting calls, alleged attempts to scare her and her family, and public pleas for help that she claims were ignored. She's gone as far as suggesting there's been an organized effort to smear and intimidate her. And whether people believed her at the time or not, the pattern she's describing is hard to brush off completely. Then add in the more alarming claims, like her saying she feared being poisoned, And suddenly what some dismissed as paranoia starts to feel like a narrative that's escalating in real time. The tension builds because now the audience is stuck wondering, is Nicki spiraling, or has she been trying to warn us this whole time? And just when you think it couldn't get more disturbing, the situation involving Rihanna pushes things into an entirely different category. This wasn't just a random break-in or someone wandering onto private property. This involved an armed individual and a history of obsessive, aggressive online behavior directed specifically at her. The suspect reportedly had a long trail of erratic posts, targeting Rihanna in ways that feel deeply personal and unhinged, which immediately raises eyebrows. Because when someone has that kind of documented fixation, it doesn't feel random anymore. It feels intentional. And that's exactly where the whispers begin. People start asking whether this person acted alone, or whether they were somehow influenced, encouraged, or even used. It sounds like a stretch at first, but in an industry where narratives are carefully controlled, even the wildest theories tend to find an audience. That's when the internet does what it does best, connect dots, whether they're meant to be connected or not. Fans begin lining up timelines, comparing details, and pointing out how unusual it is for two major celebrities to experience such targeted incidents so close together. And one detail keeps coming up. Celebrities don't just casually expose their home addresses. Security is tight, information is guarded, and yet somehow, in both cases, individuals got dangerously close. That's when the conversation shifts from coincidence to possibility. Could these have been warnings? Messages? Something meant to scare rather than harm, but still send a very clear signal? And just as this theory starts gaining traction, an unexpected voice enters the conversation and flips everything on its head. Kanye West. Now, Kanye is no stranger to controversy, but when he starts hinting that there's more going on behind the scenes and subtly pointing toward Jay-Z, people start paying attention in a different way. Because suddenly, this isn't just fan speculation anymore. This is someone with deep industry ties, someone who's been in those rooms, seen those relationships up close, and isn't exactly known for keeping things to himself. The tone shifts instantly. What was once gossip starts to feel like something heavier, something with layers. And to understand why that name even enters the conversation, you have to go back to the long, messy history between Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z. This isn't new. Nicki has been publicly calling him out for years, accusing him of owing her massive amounts of money, suggesting he's tried to block or sabotage her career, and doing it all in a way that's anything but subtle. She's been relentless, loud, and very, very specific at times. It's not just industry tension. It's personal, at least from her perspective. And when you have someone consistently putting that kind of pressure on a powerful figure, it naturally raises the question of motive. Not proof, never proof, but motive. Because if you're looking at this through the lens the internet is building, the idea starts to form. If someone feels threatened, embarrassed, or exposed, how far would they go to control the narrative? But here's where the story takes a turn that has people really pausing. Because if all of this is somehow connected, then why would Rihanna even be part of the equation in the first place? She's been relatively low-key, focused on her business empire, her family, and largely removed from the kind of public industry drama that Nicki Minaj tends to find herself in. So how does her name end up in the same conversation? That's where people start digging into her history, specifically her early relationship with Jay-Z. He was instrumental in launching her career, the one who signed her, mentored her, and helped shape her entry into the industry. But over the years, that relationship has been described as complicated at best. There have been rumors, controversies, and moments that, depending on how you interpret them, paint a picture that isn't entirely straightforward. And now, with everything resurfacing, some are quietly asking, does Rihanna know more than she's ever said out loud? Not that she's confirmed anything. Far from it. But in an industry where silence can sometimes be strategic, people are starting to wonder if her distance from certain figures isn't accidental, but intentional. And that question opens the door to something much bigger than just one feud or one theory. Because once you step back, the conversation isn't just about Nicki versus Jay-Z anymore. It starts to feel like a glimpse into how power might actually operate behind the scenes in the music industry. There have already been lawsuits, resurfaced allegations, and years of rumors surrounding some of the biggest names in entertainment. And while none of it forms a clean, proven narrative, it does create a pattern of whispers that refuse to go away. Add in the way fans and even smaller creators claim to feel pressured, silenced, or shut down when they speak on certain topics. And suddenly, this doesn't feel like isolated drama. It feels systemic. Like there's an unspoken boundary about what can and can't be said, and what happens when someone crosses that line. And if that's even partially true, then the stakes here are a lot higher than a celebrity disagreement. They're about control, influence, and who really holds the power to shape the story. Which brings everything back to a darker, more uncomfortable possibility. What if these incidents weren't just coincidences but signals? Not necessarily meant to cause harm, but to send a message. Because when you look at it through that lens, the pattern starts to feel different. One artist publicly calling out powerful figures and claiming she's not safe. Another, who may have deeper knowledge of the industry, suddenly experiencing a targeted and frightening situation. And layered on top of that, growing chatter about intimidation, about people being warned without anything ever being directly proven. Again, nothing here is confirmed, but the idea alone is enough to make people uneasy. Because if influence can be exercised quietly, indirectly, then how would anyone even recognize it in real time? And more importantly, who would be willing to speak up if they did? So now the conversation shifts to you. Because at this point, it's not just about what happened. It's about what you think it means. Is Rihanna choosing to stay silent because she wants to or because she has to? Is Nicki Minaj exposing something real that people aren't ready to confront? Or is this all spiraling into something bigger than the truth? And if there really are forces behind the scenes shaping what we see and hear, how much of it has already gone unnoticed? Let me know where you stand, because the more people start asking questions, the harder it becomes to ignore them.